Hey everyone, Aaron here with Elite Water Sports, hanging out in the front grass of the shop. And today's video is all about how to not invert your lines after you've already rigged them. Everybody needs to take a break every once in a while, put the kite down on the beach, wrap up their bar and lines. And what we see often is that the lines come out tangled or also inverted. These are tips and tricks of how not to do that. Stay tuned, and I'll also give you other scenarios that you can use these tips and tricks for. Hey everyone, Aaron here with Elite Water Sports, and this video, like I was saying in the intro, is all about how to wrap up your bar and lines when you're ready to take a break on the beach. Additionally, these are also different techniques to make sure that you don't invert your lines. Nobody likes to have inverted lines, especially at that beginner stages, because guess what? You'll have to rerun them if you haven't learned bar juggling or bar magic. Additionally, we have other tips and tricks to go along with, like say if you want to take a break and go to the next location, like wrap up your kite entirely without disconnecting your bar. Or what happens if you want to get on a boat and don't have enough room to rig your bar on that boat. So stay tuned, I'm going to get into the nitty gritty and make sure that you're a champ, a pro out there on the beach, and you can spread the love and teach everybody else how to do it too. All right, let's paint that picture, the perfect scenario everybody has experienced before. We just landed our kite up on the beach. Our lines are still strung out. We kind of maybe pulled them up on the beach. Now what we need to do is go ahead and wrap up those lines. Okay, here I am about 15 feet away from my kite. And what I want to do is do some extra wraps on the bar, especially to maintain really nice organized lines. So I'll do a couple wraps like this around it. And then I'll use those bungees, those line keepers, like that. Now that's gonna really keep my lines organized. And well, don't forget the other side. Now, the rules, okay? These aren't really like guidelines or recommendations. These are the rules, all right? If I throw my bar on the beach like that, chances are the lines are gonna go over top of the bar and now it's inverted. So we gotta make sure that we don't do that. All right, what I like to do is stop about 15 feet away from my kite. So therefore, taking my bar all the way up around the corner. And if I have to set the bar on the beach, what I'll do is I'll make sure that I have it really separated from the kite and have these lines taut. So therefore, I'm not gonna have an instance where the bar gets like this and I pull it up through here and now I have an inverted bar. One other technique you can do is just go ahead and eject, and just about every single kite in the world has this little handle here. You can connect it like that, and boom, as long as you take the bar out from this connection, the same way that you put it on, your lines aren't going to get inverted again. So that's a really great trick to make sure that your lines don't get inverted. If you don't like that idea, again, just make sure that that bar stays separated away from your bridles over here. Now this is where it gets tricky. If you have to move your kite somewhere else, your lines are still attached, what you want to do is have a control. If you have your harness on, that's awesome. Go ahead, knowing that it's not inverted, you've done everything correct, connect back with the bar with your harness, at least with the leash, okay? So now what that is the control. As long as I personally don't go underneath one of these lines, okay, the bar will not invert itself. Therefore, if I drop it, it's still controlled. Unless I step through the lines again, if I step through, then it'll invert. So now I can go along, and I might as well hold it so I don't drag it. I can go to the front of the kite, and when I flip it over, I still don't invert my lines because I'm still attached to it. Now, if you don't have your leash, guess what? Your arm is your leash, and you never let go of your bar no matter what. You never change hands. You just, as soon as you grab it, you never let go. So you're having to do all this without ever letting go of your bar. One thing I've seen people do is that the lines need to stay within the middle of the kite. So see this bridle over here is starting to make its way around the backside of the canopy. And eventually, maybe, perhaps, I step through it, or maybe I shift the kite this way and that bridle follows itself around the canopy. If it did that, then we would be inverted again. So the rule here is to make sure when you flip that kite over that you have bridle and steering lines inside of the arch of your kite. So you can see all the lines are inside the arch of the kite. Additionally, I have it connected to the bar, the leash connected to the bar, no inverted versions. So now I can walk anywhere on the beach and never have an inverted kite. If I need to go to a different kite, a different size, I just gotta follow the same steps of making sure those lines stay inside that arch. No lines are on top of the bridle or on top of the canopy. We have one steering line over there. Let's just be a little bit detail oriented. Let's pop that line off so all the lines are on the inside. And if I want to take that break or shift over to another kite, I can go ahead and reconnect that bar right here. All right, so now it's connected, not inverted. Now, let's paint some pictures or scenarios. What happens if you've gotten so good at kiteboarding that you have a couple different bars, and a lot of people do this, they have a smaller bar for their smaller kites, like their 7s and 9s, and bigger bars for their bigger kites. You can essentially leave this bar attached permanently and never have to disconnect it. And what I'm saying is that you can actually get away with having a bar for each kite and never have to rig up again. That'll save you 2 to 3 minutes. But what happens in turn is like eventually you're gonna have inverted lines because you're not following the rules, things got weird, bar fell out of the bag or whatever it is, right? You'd have to be good at bar juggling. So watch those videos that we've already created for bar juggling in the water or bar magic up on the beach. All right, so let's paint a picture of us going out on the boat for the day. We don't necessarily have to fill it up, but that does make it visually easier to rig your bar. So we would set this kite up in a controlled manner, like somewhere on a beach, or not a beach, but a dock, or like up in the field next to the marina, something like that. We would go through the same process of rigging that entire kite, making sure our lines are perfect, following the rules I've already taught you. And this time, what you would want to do, maintain control of the bar, just like I taught you. Flip your kite over. Make sure those lines are inside the arch, like I've taught you. Now what we're gonna do is a standard deflate. So I have that bar and lines attached properly, originally not tangled, and I still have not inverted our lines because I'm following the rules. I go ahead and pop the kite. I fold it normal. This is normal for me. I'm just gonna fast forward because you guys don't need to learn how to fold a kite. All right, here we are. I've just folded the kite towards the center. Just a taco fold, however you want to fold it. No set way of doing it. These mash kites typically like to be rolled. So they fit in the bag really, really nicely. And remember at the beginning of the video, I taught you to keep about 15 feet of line out away from the kite. So now grabbing the bar and lines, going over to the bag that I thought was over here. It's actually over here. Here's the cool thing with most kite bags out there, they actually have a pouch for your bar. So I'm maintaining control of that bar. I've never once passed this bar through these lines at all. So therefore it's still 100% not inverted. And then I have my control as backup is my leash. I never step through the lines and I never pass the kite through the lines at all. I'll put that kite in the bag. And this makes a lot of sense if you're like changing locations. You just got done with this really awesome downwinder. Maybe you're going out on the boat for the day. You can rig up your kite and bar at your house. And say if it's your buddy's boat, you don't want to hold them back. So there you go. And now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I put this bar in the bag in a very specific way so that when I pull it out, I'm not passing lines up through it or anything like that. So what I mean by that, putting it in there, of course this one's going to be a pain. Never a pain until we're doing a video. Like that. All right, so now what your control is to make sure these lines don't get wrapped up in your bar at all. So they're nice and tight, they're secure, they're not flopping all over the place. And when I'm ready to rig this bar or this kite, I'm ready to go for a ride, I'm ready to go out on the boat for the day, this is what you need to do in reverse. So you've just gotten to your spot, you pull that bar out first, you're maintaining control over it, open the bag, and this is all a bit like memory, using your memory on how you kind of put things away, creating habits. So you can see that I kind of threw the kite on top. I might be in the habit of like passing that line through. You've just inverted your kite. I want to make sure that I take it out, keep those lines tight, and now unfold the kite. Boom. All 4 lines are up through the center of the kite. I can pump it up. I'm ready to go. I can literally just grab that bar, string out the lines after I've inflated it, put it down on the beach, you know, and secured it. I can literally drop the lines on the beach and tell somebody, give me a launch. Most likely, because you follow the rules, no inversions have happened. And if they are, well, it's time for you to actually get good at bar magic or bar juggling, whichever the scenario is. So this is Aaron with Elite Water Sports, and I hope this kind of opens your mind to possibly having 1 bar per kite, or getting out on a boat that's real confined spaces where you don't have a lot of room to rig your lines, or possibly maybe you're doing a lot of downwinders and stuff and you don't have time to constantly re-rig. You can literally just pump up and go. So if you like this video, please share it. Please also teach the community, get involved, and we'll see you on the water.